This week on Movie Time Machine, a middle-aged woman finds herself in the middle of a huge conflict that will either make her a profit or cost her her life. This is Jackie Brown. Welcome to Movie Time Machine, your retro movie review podcast where we take movies from the past and relive them in the present. This week's movie is Jackie Brown, written and directed by Quentin Tarantino, released in the year 1997, starring Pam Grier, Robert Forster, Samuel L. Jackson, and Robert De Niro. I'm your Time Machine host, Chad, and I want to do some introductions, introduce you to my Time Machine co-host. First, he's a hip old granny who can hip hop, bebop, dance till you drop, and yo-yo make a wicked cup of cocoa. It's Casey. What's up?
Yes, that's exactly who I am.
And he wants to be left alone on an island. It's Mr. Scaredy Pants himself. It's Jamie. What's up?
Hey, you could leave me with like a video game system on an island though, too.
Yeah, one with a forever battery.
Original Game Boy.
Oh, perfect.
You know those whole if you were stranded on a desert island and what would you bring with you? They never include like, yeah, you could bring this movie, but you're going to have absolutely no way of watching it.
Here's your DVD.
You could, yeah.
Good luck. Invent a DVD player out of wood.
Right.
Figure it out.
He's our living encyclopedia of movie knowledge and NES cart collector. It's James.
Hey, what's up? I'm James.
Before we get into our movie of the week, discussion of the week, topic of the week, I want to go around the table and talk about what everyone's been up to since the last time we got together. If you have any recommendations or what you've been watching, doing, playing, reading, etc. I want to let you guys know what I've seen since the last time we got together. A really cool music documentary that I think everyone should go out there and watch. It's called The Summer of Soul, and currently it's on Hulu. It's about the Summer of Soul Festival that took place in the year 1969 in Harlem, and it occurred over 6 weekends over the summer. This was the same summer of Woodstock, so 1969, and it's just amazing. It was footage that had never really been seen before because it was sitting in a basement for 50 years, and it was Questlove that helped put this documentary together. And they went back and it looks like they remastered a lot of the film, and it is amazing. You have some really early performances by like Stevie Wonder, and the list goes on. If you like old R&B, soul, funk, all that stuff, it's just amazing footage. So check it out. Casey, what have you been up to?
I've actually been on a Marvel kick. I finished up what was it? Falcon Winter Soldier. Finished that one up. I think it got a lot more interesting after like episode 3. For me, it was when the new Captain America just yammed that dude with the shield, just murdered that dude, straight up murdered him
brutal.
in the middle of public. Like that was. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Okay, this is getting to get real. And then I thought it was really cool to kind of see that as Marvel, and maybe I'm mistaken, but it felt like to me the first time they kind of dipped their toes into like modern America problems like racism and talking about how a black man could never be Captain America. I just thought that was a cool way to kind of get involved a little bit or be more modern about how it really was. So that was sweet. And then we just started Loki. So I'm one episode on Loki, and I'm all in. It was like first episode, I'm hooked. I wanted to watch more immediately, but it was too late. But wow, even the first episode alone was phenomenal. So I'm really excited to finish that.
My new favorite Marvel character might be Miss Minutes from the training videos.
Oh, I know.
Oh yeah.
Have you finished it, Jamie?
I'm halfway through episode 2.
Oh.
So just a little bit ahead of Casey.
I think there's one episode, maybe the end of episode 3. I think only one of the episodes has like an end credit scene or like a mid credit scene.
I hate having to look.
I know, but I think it's after the third one. It's so awesome. And coming from me, I haven't really been like a huge Marvel fan. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really liked Loki.
I'm really into anything like parallel universe, timey-wimey, time travel, alternate dimension, anything like that trippy shit. I love anything like that. And so just that whole even the training video talking about the multi-timeline, it's such a funny way to do that. It was I'm so excited.
James, what have you been up to?
Well, I'd like to add that I wanted the timeline cartoon, like the Miss Lady Clock that was like talking. I really wanted it to be the Jurassic Park, like, "Hi, I'm Mr. DNA." Like, I wanted it like to be like, "Oh my god, I know that voice." Which actually, for her, like, did you guys say already? Was she somebody special? I never looked that up. She sounded familiar too.
Oh, who voiced that character?
Yeah, who voiced that little cartoon
I don't know. I mean,
clock?
it did have the. I did get the Jurassic Park vibes from it though, because I had like that
Oh,
kind of little bit of
yeah, and then
southern drawl
well,
to
and
it.
then the training videos cartoon was straight. It felt like so 1985 animation that
Hmm.
it was like awesome. It like felt very Thundercats, GI Joe esque animation, and that was fun in itself too. So
Yeah, that style of like I don't know, retro futurism type of thing. It's reminded me a lot of Portal, like Aperture Science, that whole shtick. If anyone's played the Portal games, there's a lot of that kind
Mm,
of stuff too.
yes.
If you haven't played those, they're super fun. They're just
if we could,
easy. They're little platform puzzlers. They're not like intense. They're really easy to pick up and put down. It's a fun game.
if we could capture Jamie just right there from my text message tones, where every time I get text, it goes, yes, that would be fantastic for me.
Yes.
Mm, that's how I feel about Portal.
um,
Yes.
as far as what I've been up to, I was kind of texting you guys about it, but yeah, I read the Shawshank Redemption, which was good, and then Jamie, I did purchase recently. I had a tough time finding it on Amazon, but Target had it, of course. Um, the whatever seasons, Dead Seasons, what'd you call it?
Different seasons.
The book, Different Seasons. Yeah, so I just purchased that, so I'm excited to jump into a couple of the other short stories of his. So that'll be fun. And then as far as TV shows, I finished Battlestar Galactica. Worth it. I'd say give it the new version, not the '70s version. Um, so that might be worth it too. I guess I don't know, but it was definitely worth it. And I don't know. I think it still holds up because I think it was like it came out in like 2004 or whatnot, and I was still very very entertained by it. So yeah, that's me.
Sweet. I will bat cleanup and I've kind of been into comics a little bit. I'm on a comics kick right now, and one I have right now, I'm calling it. This is going to be the next big TV series or movie. It's called The Department of Truth, and it's a comic where basically all of the conspiracy theories are real. Like Lee Harvey Oswald didn't assassinate Kennedy. There were two shooters. It's kind of hard to explain without explaining the book, but basically there's this secret government organization that's controlling everything. And I promise it's not it's
Um,
fun. It's not the dark corners of the internet conspiracy theory nonsense. Like it's riffing on that almost. And
is it the Men in Black?
it's kind of like that. That's actually a really good way to think of it. Yeah. So think of like the secret organization that's the Men in Black, but they're basically showing how we're making conspiracy theories real by putting all of this thought into it. So it's very cool. I would I've never been more impressed with like a first issue of a comic. Just right away I'm like, yes, I'm gonna buy the full run. So I'm calling it, this is gonna be the next TV series or movie, Department of Truth.
Cool. I like
So
the art style.
what got you
It's
into
just
that comic? Like, what made you think to even look for that?
So my brother and I kind of have this thing going where he kind of got me into comics, younger brother, and I will just like buy ones we think are cool and mail them to each other, just kind of like a pen pal thing. He lives in California, I live here, and he just sent me this one. He was like, "I think you might like this," and he was absolutely right.
That's fun. I should do that with my brother, who's only like 10 minutes away, but I probably see him just as much as your brother.
Perfect.
You should. It yeah.
Also, oh, sorry. No, go ahead, Jamie. I was just gonna say this is fun since we have cameras up on this this podcast right now so we can see each other, except for Jamie. So Jamie, you sound like the voice of God, which is amazing because you do sound like the voice inside my head. So like I'm seeing these guys' actions, and then all of a sudden you speak to me in this awesome voice. It's awesome.
If I'm God, we're all doomed. I just need to buy a webcam. That's all it is.
Yes.
Let's get into our movie of the week. This week it's Jackie Brown. And I think this is the first time for all of us watching this movie.
Yeah.
So can't wait to get into first time, long time.
Yeah, first timer here, first time listener, long time
time?
caller. Wait a minute, reverse that.
First time, what? First time, long time? That's how it goes. All right, so we'll go through box office and some ratings, reviews. Then after that, we'll get into our thoughts on the film. So box office for Jackie Brown had a budget of $12 million and made 74.7 at the box office. It was released on December 27th, 1997. I thought it was kind of a crazy release
Christmas
window.
movie,
That's like
man.
a Christmas movie, yeah. So maybe that's something to do with that love story. I don't know, Christmas love story movie. But ratings, reviews, IMDb, it has a 7.5 out of 10. Metacritic score of 64. Rotten Tomatoes critic score 87% and 85% audience score. So I went through the Metacritic scores and I just picked like the top one, something like a high score, and then I picked like a lower score. So first we'll go to Roger and Ebert, which gave it, I think they do like 4 stars. So it's like a 100% review from Roger and Ebert. It said, "You savor every moment of Jackie Brown. Those who say it is too long have developed cinematic attention deficit disorder, just like Chad when watching The Departed." That's a good one, Casey.
Not it.
Exit that line. "I wanted these characters to live, talk, deceive, and scheme for hours and hours." Then we have a review from the New York Times. Elvis Mitchell was 50% on Metacritic. "But for all of its enthusiasm, this film isn't sharp enough to afford all the time it wastes on small talk, long drives, trips to the mall, and favorite songs played on car radios." What? My God.
Woof.
I think like that is like the charm of Tarantino movies is like as soon as with the opening credits, I'm like it just got me right into, oh yes, this is going to be a great soundtrack. I'm excited like to watch it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tarantino just picks out such good not even obscure music necessarily, but just music that you don't hear in movies too often, and then it just or just oldies in general where it's like, ooh, this was like a B-side track 2 on this album kind of thing, and it's awesome.
Right. He picks great music and maybe stuff that's kind of gotten a little bit lost through like music history and kind of pulls it back a little bit. But he also does a great job of like when and where he places it into the film. So I have like a moment I want to share with you guys later, see what you guys think about that. But I thought it was like really cool, like what his choice of song in that moment was. So, but yeah, so Jackie Brown, first time for all of us, which was really fun to do. I've been really wanting to see this movie for a long time and really curious to hear your thoughts on this. So let's start with, why don't we start with Casey, right? Your upper left-hand corner. Let's go clockwise.
For those at home.
Theater of the mind, right?
Yeah. Imagine. Yeah, so Jackie Brown, I thought Jackie Brown was a good film. I guess I want to start with the positives because I think the only things that I have to say are kind of the things I didn't like about it, and maybe that I don't know, because it was a Tarantino, I had such high expectations, right? Because almost everything I've watched of his I've really liked. So you have these high expectations, and there were just a couple of things that I don't know, maybe they were the thing in that time when he made it, but they just I don't know if they didn't age well or if I just wasn't a fan of it. But there was a lot to like. The music was awesome. I mean, he did a great job with that. I mean, the characters were fantastic. Obviously, like Pam Grier as Jackie, I thought was phenomenal. She like carried that role so well, and I thought she was amazing. And oddly enough, my second favorite character was probably Robert De Niro as the like ex-con, just because I never heard him say anything until I don't know halfway through the movie, and just his facial expressions played that whole character. He said so much, was just with body movement, facial expressions, like looks off. Yeah, it was just so I don't know. I loved it. I really did like Michael Keaton as like the cop, the cool cop. I thought that was great. Yeah, I don't know. So those were I thought it was great. And Chris Tucker's little bit in the beginning I thought was hilarious. But that kind of leads me to my first criticism, as I thought the argument in the trunk was a little too long. I got kind of bored of them arguing about getting in or not. That I think dragged on too long. I thought that some of the transitions were a little strange, like just maybe abrupt fade outs or just kind of awkward cuts between like one scene to the next. There were a few times that I just found myself thinking, huh, that was a weird way to just kind of end that scene and move on to the next. And I think early on, I think it was the scene when what is Samuel Jackson, Ordell, when he showed up to kill Jackie, right, and she like turned the table on him. From that point forward, I kind of had made the call in my head. I'm like, oh, she's going to do this, she's going to get some money out of it, and he's going to end up dying. Like I kind of called it, and then the movie just drove right there, and it was fine. And that, again, like I said, I really enjoyed the movie, but to me, it felt just kind of like a straight drive down a road. It was nice, calm, entertaining movie just down the road. And most of Quentin is a lot more, flying at high speed up and down hills and twistings and turns. And there's a lot more, things keeping on the edge of your seat. I think a little more the high stakes drama, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it, but again, I really did enjoy this movie. I'd give it like a 3. What is Letterboxd? 4 stars?
5 stars.
5. I'd give it a 4 to 5 for sure. Maybe even 4.5. It was a great film, but I give most of the other Quentin Tarantino movies 5s. Right? I think they're fantastic. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say about it. Good film. I would watch it again. I did like it a lot. The 110th Street song absolutely stuck in my head, and that's added to Spotify playlist, and it'll be a feather in my cap to listen to for the rest of my life. Probably, it's a really good, catchy song, and it'll probably turn me on to other similar, parts of music and things that I haven't heard. So I love it for that. But yeah, just I don't know. It was good. It just didn't meet the high bar that I think Quentin has set with some of his other films. I will say, and I know we're going to do ranking our list, but I think I'll just throw it out there. The Quentin I like the least was The Hateful Eight, and I liked this significantly more than The Hateful Eight.
All right, Jamie, why don't you go next? Because I don't want James to accuse you of waiting till the end to steal everyone's takes.
Take plagiarism. That's fair. Especially because I'm in incognito mode right now. So,
I was gonna say, what are you wearing?
Right.
What am I wearing? My Colorado. There goes Casey.
Oh, Casey.
Casey
so
with
also
the C.
with the C. I'll start similar to Casey. I will say that I love this movie, but I did fall asleep 3 or 4 times the first time I tried watching it, and I think that was a factor of it being later at night, but also the slower pace. It's a different rhythm than other Tarantino films for sure. So that is very valid. But I think more than anything, what I love, Pam Grier, phenomenal. Robert Forster, so good. And I think Ordell Robbie might be my favorite Quentin Tarantino character, like, period. Everything Sam Jackson does, he can be really hit or miss for me. Like, he's really over the top, but I think he just like really, I don't know, it's a real guy, and it's less Sam Jackson, more Ordell Robbie, if that makes sense. So, and I thought he felt really lethal. Like, he might be QT's best bad guy, or Hans Landa. It's close. But so I love that. And I think at the very end, it was, is it Tarantino's only love story in a movie? I was trying to think of his other films. They have moments, but I really like that. I like the ending, and it was an imperfect love story, an imperfect, awkward kiss. But I think that made it better, if that makes any sense.
Didn't Bill love The Bride?
Oh, that's
no? Okay, maybe not.
Didn't he shoot her?
He loved her like a bullet to the brain.
He said something about now
Yeah.
you see me at my most sadistic.
Yeah. Yes, that might be in the first paragraph of the movie.
Yeah.
So,
I think she had a better relationship with Pai Mei, but well, I guess they had a kid together. With not
That's
Pai Mei,
true.
but
oh, I was
Yeah,
just say this
yeah.
guy, the bearded wispy guy. Oh man, Jamie, your call out with Sam Jackson. I was trying to explain to somebody at work like that he had a ponytail and like how his ponytail was, and I just like I finally had to like Google it because I'm like I can't do this justice and like how it's coming out of his hat and all this, and it was awesome.
I
I
think
read a
Casey best
letterbox
described
review.
it. Oh, what was that?
Oh,
I was just gonna.
I
I was
read a
just gonna
letterbox
say.
review. Damn it.
Casey described it best as the 12 Monkeys guy ponytail. But anyway, sorry. I'll let you go this
Yeah.
time.
No, I think that's right. Like the letterbox review said, Sam Jackson has 2 ponytails in this movie, and that was it.
Oh yeah, right. That was one in the front and the chin is what I call a douchebag rope.
Oh, then he had 3 because at one point he had it like braided, so it was 2 in the back, and I don't know, it's just good for him. I just hope it was real.
It matches that type
Not
of
like
character though, perfect.
not like a merkin.
Do you think the carpet matches the drapes?
Oh god.
It's my favorite line in like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I wonder if the carpet matches her pubes. It's like
No, more
nice
importantly,
hair.
I'm asking, do you think he braids those as well?
100%.
Or ponytails them?
Well, I'd like to think that it's almost like
pigtails.
was it Dave Chappelle that's like carves faces into the facial hair of that and makes gangsta faces? That's how I think it is.
God.
As
Well,
much as I like to
James.
think about Sam Jackson that way. Hi. I love that the call out Casey to Pacino.
Pacino.
Oh my god.
What movie was he in? Was it Devil's Advocate?
Oh, you said it right though. Advocates. Yeah,
Advocates.
That was a Pacino. No, De Niro though in this one. Just because I just love with Tarantino, he writes it in my head. I kind of view him as like plays or scenes. Like it's very strict. Like okay, here's the opening scene. This is going to be like 10 to 15 minutes. And it's going to be just some like sharp dialogue, and I'm going to get some content of what's happening, and then he moves on to the next scene, and then something else absurd with some great characters happen. With this one, when Robert De Niro shows up, and like it's just Sam Jackson talking. He's listening and making these like facial expressions and stuff. I was like, all right, what kind of character is De Niro going to be? And I was just ever so delighted that he was the character that like said barely anything throughout this whole thing. It was all like facial expressions throughout everything. The most you get out of him is when he gets like super ticked off and shoots what's her face, Mel or whatever,
Melanie
and Melanie. So I don't know, I liked his character a lot. Sam Jackson, like I don't know if it's just the way his dialogue flows sometimes, especially when it's long stretches like of a monologue. But like after different stretches, all I could hear was like from Pulp Fiction, where he's like, you know that greenhouse at the bottom of that building? Yeah, motherfucker fell through that. Like, you just like I just like hear him like his dialogue flow through, and it plays so well, and you do want to listen to him for a while. Like yeah, screw Morgan Freeman. I want to watch March of the Penguins with Sam Jackson talking about these mother effing penguins.
Say what one more time. Say what one more time.
What again?
Do they speak English and what?
Yeah, it's just I mean, it's good. So that's why I don't know. Yeah, I can appreciate the character he had, but I like Jules' character better, but also with Pulp Fiction it was so chopped up. Like if it was more fluid like this was, like Jules' character I think would steal the scene every single time. But no, this one was good. I kept on waiting for like a Bruce Willis cameo. Like I just felt like I wasn't totally confident with who all was in this movie. So I was just kept on waiting for more of okay, who's this going to be? Like who are they going to meet now? Like what's going to happen? So but yeah, I agree. Robert Forster crushed it. I kept on trying to think of what I recognized him from. Like he's just such a familiar face. Finally, it occurred to me that he was in Breaking Bad in the final season, I think.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, God, I know that guy. So we can go into Oscar stuff later, but he was nominated, Robert Forster. He was the only one nominated for an Oscar for supporting actor that year. but he rightfully lost to Robin Williams for Good Will Hunting.
Oh, good. Well, I've heard of that
It's an
movie
all-time
before.
role.
Dude, this was a banner year. So he was up against Robin Williams for Good Will Hunting, Anthony Hopkins for Amistad, Burt Reynolds for Boogie Nights, and Greg Kinnear for As Good as It Gets. Like this was a
Wow.
killer year for movies like that. So, all in all,
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, like if we were going out of stars with 4 out of 5 or whatever, yeah, I'd say probably a 4. I really enjoyed it. It's not my favorite, but it was definitely. I'm surprised it took me as long as it did to watch this. To be honest, I think I was just
Same.
holding off on it.
Yeah, same here. I remember I've tried to like start this movie like quite a few times. Like I've really been wanting to watch this film for a long time, probably since it released, and I just never got around to it. And I think first, like I was expecting that this was kind of like some kind of homage to like that 70s like black exploitation movie era, just probably because it has Pam Grier in it, and there are some like little nods to that in the movie, you know. And I think like there's one cool one where she's like they like ask who it is, and she's like Jackie Brown, you know. But and some like the songs in this the music soundtrack are from like Coffee or Foxy Brown, one of those two films. So a little homage and nods to that past as well. But I
Yeah,
watched this
Pam
two
Pam
times
Grier
and
was
I just
great.
like the first. Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Like and super sexy, by the way.
yeah.
Agree.
Those-
Red dress scene. Forget about it.
right.
Oh, forget
Ooh,
about it.
forget about it. But yeah, I the first time I watched this, I really didn't know what to think about it. I was just like, do I like this? Is this a good movie? Like, you know, I just had all these different thoughts in my head where, like, yeah, it didn't feel like a what you would call like a traditional uh Tarantino film because it was missing some of those kind of high kind of those like over the top action elements, I guess, is what I think of all the time. And I watched it a second time and started really loving the soundtrack, and I started to realize like, oh, this is just like a love story between Max Cherry and Jackie Brown. That's the focus of this film. Everything else is kind of the isn't really the whole of this, you know, the part of the story. So it's just kind of how these two come together and meet in their past. And I think their past is kind of like the reason why they don't kind of run off to the sunset in the end. And I think that's kind of like that Tarantino like touch too. Like there isn't, or maybe it's just, it was like a 90s thing too, but like we don't get that. There's not that happy ending where they do kind of split up and they just go their own ways again. But yeah, I really
I
like
thought it
this.
was because of the kiss.
The kiss, it
Did anybody
wasn't a
else?
good,
Yeah, did anybody else not like think that way about it? Like, I thought like both of them are both separately great actors, and then I just wasn't bought into the final kiss at the end. I got to be very honest. I was like, this is
really?
weird.
I just thought it was
I'm
like
glad
this. It was slow, you know, it was
meh.
meh.
I
All
don't.
right.
I don't
I
know. It
thought he
was
couldn't go
no.
with her because then she couldn't like get away. You know, it'd be too obvious if he were to disappear too. Maybe I'm
I would
wrong too.
concur. Maybe
I like to
actually,
think that he meets her with her later.
Oh, like Zewa style.
Yep.
Nice.
See, I was
nice reference.
thinking because I noticed this the second time I watched it which is like one of my favorite like scenes in the movie where it's like they replay the whole money handoff scene in the apparel store where it does it from like there's like three different scenes essentially
Like
where
the
it's like different
perspectives.
perspectives. Yeah, and where it's the one from Max Cherry's perspective, and he's like kind of watching Jackie Brown come in, and she like is getting this money, and now she's buying like a new pantsuit, right? You know, and like I just like oh, it's like Max knows that she's gonna run off with all this money, and she's gonna continue to flash what she has, right? She's not gonna be able to keep this a secret, and you know, like I don't think he could see himself. I think he kind of wants to get away from that stuff too. Like he talks early in the film, like he wants to get out of like the Bales bonds business and stuff like that. So I kind of saw that as like he's like he loves her, he's attracted to her, but he doesn't want the drama, you know. Like he can't have that, and he kind of sees how like um that Jackie Brown probably that probably wouldn't last very long. But
Probably not. I actually like the take of he would choose not to go with her to protect her. I wish if that was the idea, I wish that was a little bit more obvious to the storyline. But I do like that idea that that's exactly why they couldn't run off into the sunset together.
Kudos to Jamie on that. Do you think because some of like the critic reviews and ratings on this movie were a little bit lower, I would probably like a C grade overall. Do you think this movie kind of suffered from like a Pulp Fiction like follow up
100%.
disorder? Because this
If I
comes out
still
like
think
what 2 years after Pulp
2 or
Fiction?
3,
Yeah.
but I think this is like I think the Pulp Fiction is a superior movie to this one. In
yeah.
just my opinion. But yeah, but if it went like Reservoir Dogs, this movie, and then Pulp Fiction, it would have only like grown higher and higher and higher. Like I think this movie would have done a lot better. I think it was compared to his last works, like most writer directors are compared to their last works. I mean, I'm sorry, after Sixth Sense, sorry M. Night, everybody's not on board. Unfortunately,
You didn't like The Village?
I'm a fan. Oh, I love The Village. No, I'm a fan. I love Signs. I love The Village. If you go back and watch Unbreakable, like it's slow as hell, but it's very enjoyable.
Yeah, I love Unbreakable. I haven't seen Signs.
Oh, I love Signs. Signs is good. And then we should do Signs. Signs is in the time like where I think it might not have done as well because I can't remember when Mel went completely crazy. Besides the fact that he just is. But now I think he's sober, had some therapy. He's getting back in the game, and I don't know. It's like Tom Cruise crazy for me. I can separate from the actor to the crazy. Like I love both of those guys.
Right? You could appreciate the art, but you can separate the art
Ransom.
from the
I can watch Ransom. I can watch Braveheart.
Scientology, though. Scientology. That one's tough.
But have you seen Tom Run? Oh, so good.
Yeah, but they like disappear people. They're shady AF. I don't even want to talk about them anymore in case
I like Tom
comes after us.
I like
you can
Tom
tell the
and Vanilla
passion in
Sky.
his voice. Oh my God, Chad! How come like you always name the worst movies of somebody's best work? Like, or when we're talking about somebody, like you're like, oh, I've never seen Magnolia, but I'm gonna. Oh yeah, Tom was great in Vanilla Sky.
Jerry
have you ever seen?
Have
you ever seen Tom?
Movie.
Have you ever seen Tom Hanks in Big? Like, he was amazing.
Oh, shut up.
It's like I think I own most Tom Cruise movies, to be very honest, and Vanilla Sky is probably the one I watch the least.
Okay, what's your top 3 Tom Cruise movies that's not Mission Impossible?
That's not Mission Impossible. Live, Die, Repeat. Or,
it's Edge of Tomorrow, thank you, and that would also be my number 1.
I know. I wanted you to correct me so bad.
I really want to see that one.
Call it that. The sequel supposedly is going to be called that, though.
Oh Christ.
I don't know if it's a top. I really like Valkyrie. And then, God, you put me on the spot.
What's the precog one?
Minority Report.
Minority Report, yeah.
That's the thing though, like Tom makes like some sweet like sci-fi movies, man. They're like between like Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow, Minority Report.
Oblivion's a movie I've been wanting to see too.
War of the Worlds.
Oh yeah, I like War of the Worlds.
I'd have to say my top like Tom movie though is like I really like Collateral. That Michael Mann movie where he's the assassin.
Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking of something else. Wasn't there one with him too where he plays like
him and Jamie Foxx? What?
Yeah, isn't he like hold him hostage or something like that?
Yeah, Jamie Foxx is a cab driver, and Tom gets in the cab, offers him some money to drive him around all night. He has like 3 stops or 6 stops or something to make, and then in turn, Jamie's not supposed to know the wiser, but then one of the guys he shoots lands on the hood of his car, and then he holds him basically hostage, like, you're going to finish driving me around, or I'm going to kill you.
Then at the end, like Jamie Foxx finally gets rid of him. He's like, I'm free. But then he realized Tom left his groceries in the trunk of the car.
Yes.
Melting ice cream and all.
So he's like, I just want to do him a favor and I'll bring him back his groceries.
I'd also go Last Samurai is also, I think it's really well shot and done. Tom is a samurai, I get it, but the rest of the movie is good.
All right, I'll trust you. I believe you.
All right. Man,
I wasn't joking about Jerry Maguire. I love that movie.
Cameron Crowe's first movie, or
it's almost
movie?
a football movie. It's almost a football movie.
Written by the guy who did Almost Famous.
Boom.
Almost Football.
Oh yeah, Rod Tidwell, man.
Help me help you.
He's the best. Yeah, there's so many good quotes in that movie.
So what?
Okay.
So what do you
Let's keep going.
what did you think of De Niro in this film? I know we kind of talked about already a little bit about how like we don't really hear him talk for like almost like the first half of the film, and when I first saw him, I was like, God, he looks really familiar, and I was like, oh, he looks like Nick from New Girl from like the side, like an older Nick from New Girl,
Like an older Nick
Yeah.
from New Girl. That's spot on. That's so good. I was trying to think like I couldn't think of like what the movie like maybe he did before that was. Because I was thinking like he had put on weight maybe for the role, but maybe not. Like I guess that was kind of in the time when like I don't know what 2 years later he did Meet the Fockers or whatever, or Meet the Parents. So I don't know. He just didn't seem as fit as he usually does. But
Well, didn't he just come off Casino? I thought.
I felt like he just came off Heat or something like that.
Oh, Casino
but,
was 95. So did he come out in 96?
I thought Heat was 95 as well.
Oh, yep, you're right. Yeah, so I don't know why he was chubby, but did anyone think that? So like Ordell, who was De Niro's character, Lewis, I believe, and then
Yeah.
we have the blonde girl, Melanie, right?
Yep.
Did anyone get the sense that actually these people just, even though Ordell is kind of a badass and he's like this guns dealer, that they're just kind of fumbling idiots in a way? Like
Yep.
even Jackie Brown a little bit, like they're not the smartest criminals, like Jackie Brown, she's gotten like busted twice now. At
Well,
the
I feel like
beginning.
Melanie calls that out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Melanie's like you guys are a bunch of idiots. Like why are we doing this?
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of thinking like the opening part with Ordell and not Boudreaux. What's his name? Boudreaux.
Beaumont.
Chris Tucker.
Beaumont, yes.
Beaumont.
I was getting there.
The Mr. Beaumont.
Yeah, like
His Christian name, if I had to guess.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, just kind of like, just it seems like the people that Ordell is dealing with are not the brightest, but maybe that's how you get people to like, help trade and sell your guns too. So,
But I was like, okay, maybe they explained this better and I just missed it. But was the $500,000 strictly from him selling guns, like, or did he have a big shipment that he just made a huge score on and then he got the money from Mexico? I'm just confused on, like, to your point, he's dealing with like kind of like the bottom of the barrel of criminal, and like is kind of concerned, or not concerned, but just like didn't seem like like he'd bring any of these people on a major heist, if you will. So like I'm just kind of trying to figure out like how did he get $500,000 and was like I'm out and gonna retire by just dealing with these common criminals. I don't know, but maybe that's just the arms game and I'm not aware of it very well. Just don't know the logistics, I guess.
yeah, I don't know. I just think that plays until he's kind of an idiot. Not an idiot, just not the smartest criminal, And even
Yeah.
Melanie is saying that to Lewis, like, she's like, he doesn't really know much. He just repeats the things that he hears, and he gets De Niro. He just comes back. He just got out of prison, right, for like a bank heist.
Yeah.
And we kind of see after he kind of fumbles around and like he ends up killing Melanie. And then, like he was kind of trying to explain himself to Ordell. Like it just seems like he wasn't, unless I don't know, maybe it was just not played out that well, like those characters. But everyone to me just seemed like they were kind of, not the best and brightest of the criminal world.
I'm surprised to see that this was based on a book. I thought this initially. I guess I would have thought this was a Tarantino original.
Rum Punch.
it-
Yep.
Yeah.
It was,
Is anybody familiar with that book? Like, is the
Nope.
premise similar and it just didn't take place in L.A. kind of thing, or what?
I think it was
So-
pretty.
I
You
was
go
like,
ahead.
Jamie, I'm looking at you.
You're the English major.
Well, I haven't read Rum Punch, but I did pull it up on Wikipedia, and I think it's and I read one or two interviews for the writer Elmore Leonard talking about it, and it's I think it follows the story pretty closely. The changes were Tarantino changed. She's called Jackie Burke in the book. He changed her name to Jackie Brown and makes her black. That was a Tarantino change, and I think he loved Elmore Leonard, so he was kind of apprehensive to show him the screenplay. But Elmore Leonard said it was the greatest adaptation of his work into film. He loved it. And as far as I can tell on Wikipedia, the story beats are the same. And Michael Keaton's character, there was a bit of a, he plays, what's his name? Agent
Ray Nicolette.
Ray.
Yeah.
Ray Nicolette. Yeah, they were.
Hi, I'm Ray. Let me tell you how I quit smoking with Chantix.
Yeah, so at the same time, there was, I don't know who the director was, but there was a Universal film being made called Out of Sight. That's also
with,
based on a story by
J-Lo?
Elmore Leonard, and Michael Keaton plays the same character in that movie as well. So there was
in that George Clooney movie?
Out of Sight. Is it a George Clooney movie?
It's George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez, I think.
Yeah, if it's the same movie, yeah, look it up.
Yeah, it is.
He plays the same.
I'm trying to find Michael Keaton in it.
Same character. But Elmore Leonard, right? Did I say that right? He also wrote some other short stories that were adapted into film and TV that you might know, like 310 to Yuma. That's
I love that movie.
And the FX series Justified.
I hear great things. I just haven't seen it, but I love Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, I love
Didn't
Timothy.
he do Get Shorty also, or am I misremembering that?
Are you talking about Timothy Olyphant?
No, Elmore Leonard.
Oh, I was gonna say, because I was gonna ask you if you started the second season of The Mandalorian yet.
Negative.
Dude, would you watch it if I told
God,
you?
I wish we could have sound effects on here. We just straight Inception him every time.
Would you watch it? Would you go ahead and start watching it this week if I told you that Timothy Olyphant is in the first episode of season 2?
Yeah, I actually might. I love that dude.
Okay.
Why did it take you this long to tell him that?
I'll be damned, Chad. Uncredited is Ray Nicolette and Out of Sight. Now I want to watch Out of Sight.
Right. And see if he plays the character the same. I think they came out like really close to one.
I'm guessing he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely like a character rights disagreement, or they had to squash it before Jackie Brown came out because he was supposed to be in Out of Sight at around the same time.
Yeah. It just says uncredited, so I can't imagine he's in there for very long, but well, whatever. Yeah,
he just drives by and says like, "Hey, I'm Ray Nicolette."
And they're like, "Hey, Ray." That's it. It's like Tarantino's like in the car riding shotgun.
Somebody's watching Jackie Brown in the background.
Exactly. Or just walking like Foxy Brown in the background or something with Pam Grier.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact, Pam Grier. So are you guys familiar with just Suicide Squad, the movie or whatever in general? Like,
yeah.
So there was the what is her name? Waller, Amanda Waller or whatever character, like the FBI agent. In Smallville, Pam Grier played her.
Oh, no way.
Really?
That's the Viola Davis character in the movie.
Yeah, the
right?
Viola Davis character in Suicide Squad. Yeah. So
God, you've seen so many movies, James. It's crazy.
That's a TV show. It was only 10 seasons, so it's not that bad.
You've watched so much TV, James.
I stopped in like season 6.
I think that's when I started binging it, actually, is like season 6. I think I got into real time around season 7 or 8.
Spoilers, but when his dad died, I was like, after that it went downhill.
Yeah, I understand. Spoilers, Jonathan Kent does not survive.
But he's in episode 4 of The Mandalorian season 2.
What? Also, fun fact, Uncle Ben also doesn't survive any Spider-Man comics.
Dude.
He goes on and finds another career making rice.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Yes,
a,
making
is that a
rice.
different? Is that a different Uncle Ben? I don't know.
That's a different Uncle Ben.
Oh, okay.
And then Miss
okay.
Lippy's car is green. No, that was a Billy Madison reference.
I
Jamie?
got it. Deep
Thanks,
pull.
Jamie.
Oh. Sa-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, so earlier I teased this. I
Just
know
while we're on topic of randomness, who else watched Space Jam?
it's 2,
Negative.
the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched the new one.
By who else I meant I hadn't watched it either. I was just curious if anybody had initial thoughts.
Oh, Space Jam 2. I liked it. I thought it was way better than The Departed. No, honestly,
said
no,
it.
honestly, no. I'm just kidding. But honestly, I watched because it just came out, I think, last weekend. So we watched, of course, watched it with the kids. So we watched Space Jam 2. Then I think the next day we watched, I watched the Little Rascals movie with them,
Oh, it's so good.
and yeah, and Penelope Spheris movie. We also directed the Decline of Western Civilization, episode 63 of Movie Time Machine. Then that night we watched mid 90s, and out of those 3 movies, I would say maybe Space Jam. Well, Little Rascals is pretty good, but I'd say Space Jam might have been like as entertaining as the other ones. But now I think about that,
for you,
Little Rascals is
for the
pretty
viewers
damn
out
good.
there, I think everybody, if you're not new to Movie Time Machine, I'm looking at you, Vietnam. I think you know that Chad hates The Departed. So when he says I liked Space Jam 2 better than The Departed, the bar is so low. And then when he can't tell if he liked Little Rascals better than Space Jam, oh my god, makes me sad. But okay. Anyways,
Anyway,
hey, Chad,
yeah,
sorry. What else did you want to talk about?
I wanted to talk about. So earlier I teased. I know everyone's been waiting for this tease, but talking about like how Quentin does like a great job of like adding like finding the best song or the right song for like a certain scene in the movie. So when Lewis and Melanie, De Niro's character and Melanie are supposed to like get ready to go and get like pick up the cash at the store to do the handoff with the bag, and she's getting ready, and De Niro's just like, "Come on,
In
we
a
gotta
minute.
go, we gotta go." Yeah, and the song that's playing in the background, it goes, where is it? It's. I'm like, it's like foreshadowing her demise, and I thought that was pretty cool because it says, "Found out she couldn't fly. It was too late, and if she's too late, she's gone too far. She didn't know what she was heading for, and what I found out she was, and what I found out what she was heading for, but it was too late." So if you heard the song, it might sound better, but it's too late because it's too late. I'm sorry, that was pretty
I'm gonna have to look it
disappointing.
up because I seriously have no clue what song you're talking
Really?
about. I'm looking at it. I'll look it up, but yeah,
But
I
yeah.
don't. But you did a great job.
Thanks.
Speaking of Tarantino with Tarantino, Tony's Pizza Rolls with songs. I like in Reservoir Dogs.
James' brain just opened for a moment and like 5 different things ran out.
I was trying to say Tarantino and I couldn't, so I was like Tony's Pizza Rolls. No, in Reservoir Dogs when Stuck in the Middle with You is coming on it, right, and they're gonna cut off the cop's ear or whatever. Like it's just like that's when I think I like started appreciating. Well, it was clearly the first time I started appreciating Tarantino because it was one of the first movies he directed. But like with the way music plays and that, like that soundtrack's really good. And then just like, oh my god, this is a gruesome scene, and he's just playing this like uplifting song, and it was just kind of something new, and it's something I think he's kind of kept through the ages with his films of just having great music and very different or intriguing music at different scenes, but they play like however he's shooting it, or however he's directing it, the music always plays with what he's doing. It's always phenomenal. So kudos to that dude.
Yeah, I love some of the beats he does like that, and like Kill Bill as well. There's some really cool like music numbers on that, and some really cool fight scenes.
Yeah, even like he takes like theme songs and throws them in there because Kill Bill did, it was like the Green Hornet theme song or whatever when the Crazy 88s show up,
Yeah.
and even that it just drove me nuts in the theater. I'm like, I know this. Why do I know this? I can't think of it, and like that's all I could think about for the next 10 minutes until I got there.
Well, in addition with all the like different pop culture nuggets he throws in, I think we talked about this a while back. We didn't do Starship Troopers, but we talked about that movie, how they would bring in the commercials or whatever. Did anyone else love the Chicks with Guns video? And
Oh
just
yeah, I'm
like how
glad you
that
brought that
introduced
up.
Ordell's
Yeah.
job. Oh, that kills me.
Oh, it's Demi Moore.
Yeah, it was really good because it
I actually had to rewind it because I'm like, did I miss something? That's not Demi Moore.
yeah, because it's essentially just playing the entire time when Ordell is just ranting about all the different kind of guns and who to sell them to and why people don't want these guns and stuff like that. So yeah, who who won this movie for you?
I'd say Pam. I think Pam stole the scene on quite a few different occasions. Like, I think we saw her in the very beginning, but then we didn't really see her for like a half hour, 45 minutes into the movie. Where I was like, okay, I know Pam Grier's an essential part. It's the title role. Like, where is she? And then, but then when she shows up, she doesn't leave, and I think she steals it every time she's in there. And like to the point where like I wasn't confident if she was really into Cherry or not. Like I honestly wasn't sure if that was just part of the setup or
Yeah,
who to trust with her.
right.
So I found myself even up until the end going like, I'm rooting for her. I still don't know what's going to happen next, which is also a good feeling for movies these days of being like surprised or at least being on edge. Like what I thought figured kind of would happen happened. But I still was definitely not confident in how I was feeling about it. But yeah, Pam for me. Case?
I agree. I think she probably had the most allure. I liked when she dominated the scenes. Like I said, the scene with I mentioned it as the scene that I kind of called it after that, but it is when I think one of the better scenes she's in when she kind of lays down the law when he jumps over to try to kill her. I was like, all right, you go, let's go. I thought that was pretty good. But yeah, she stole the show for me. I would give a second nod to Max Cherry. I thought he was great. Robert Forster was awesome in that role, and just every scene he was in, just that stoic, calm demeanor. I don't know. It was a good character. I liked watching that.
What about you, Jamie? Black screen,
Yeah, I
come
think
out of the
it's a
darkness.
three peat for Pam here. I also mentioned I liked Robert Forster, but small shout out to Michael Keaton. I thought he was so good. Like this could have been a throwaway part, and he was really famous at this point. Like just coming off of Batman, like he was a huge star. And there was one scene where I thought there was going to be more to it when he and the other officer are going through a bag. I thought he planted the cocaine in that envelope. It's like a weird cut, and I remember watching, I was like, oh shit, did he like plant that in there to nail her? But then they bring it up
That's
later. It was Melanie's cocaine.
Yeah,
But
that's exactly what I thought too, Jamie.
yeah, I had to rewind it just to make sure because I was not positive. But yeah, Pam Grier, far and away.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. I don't. I'm still gonna say I think Robert Forrester for me. Um, even though I think Pam Grier is awesome as well. But yeah, Robert Forster. I know through this entire movie, I was like, God, what do I know him from? And I did the same as you, James. And I was like, oh yeah, Breaking Bad. But yeah, I think he's awesome in this film. It's almost kind of like his movie in a way as well. So him and Jackie Brown's film. So, but I got to give it. I mean, shout out to Pam Grier though, and especially like that opening scene on like the moving sidewalk. That entire shot for like the entire song. I was like, in holding that face, I was like, again, that's like another like Quentin Tarantino moment, like being able to pull something off like that in the opening credits of the film. So yeah, those would be my number 1 and 2. Do you want to get into ranking our Tarantino films? Do you want to just rank them all and how this would fit into those, or you want to just do like a top 5?
I think
God,
we
I
go
don't
all.
know.
He doesn't have that many,
Okay.
He doesn't have
right?
that many. I'm just gonna have to pull him up here, but I don't know. Chad, if you got yours on the ready, go nuts, man.
Well, number one for me would be Kill Bill. I think that's one of my favorite. Then after that, it'd probably be Pulp Fiction. Then number three, I would probably say Inglourious Bastards. Then I need to pull up the rest of the list. Tarantino. What am I missing here?
Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, wait.
Hateful Eight.
Yeah, that's probably after. Hold on. I sent you guys that list.
Django, Once Upon a Time.
I haven't seen Once Upon a Time yet.
Neither have I.
Need to see that, but yeah. Just for me, I don't know. Just for me, I would say my top three is just going to be Kill Bill, Pulp Fiction, and probably Inglourious Bastards for me. The rest after that does kind of all blend together. I would probably say my least favorite is the I just watched that one too. You recommended it, Jamie. Is the car one, the grindhouse
Death Proof.
Death Proof. Yeah, I wasn't. that movie was kind of boring for me. It kind of took me by surprise. That was kind of one of those shocking things too. But yeah, Jackie Brown would probably fit somewhere in the middle out of those for me.
Yeah. Chad.
No, I was just going to say, Death Proof does have the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score of all his films.
Oh, I was like, of all time?
By a fair bit, actually. 65% versus the next lowest is 74, The Hateful Eight. And then everything else is high 80s, 90s.
Chad, I'd agree with you. I guess I don't know if the order is accurate or not, but I'd say for me, top three would be Pulp Fiction, Kill Bills, and then I would go between Reservoir Dogs and or Inglourious Bastards. I'd probably say Reservoir Dogs just because I think I just appreciated the low budgetness of it and originality, things like that. Like, so I'll just go Reservoir Dogs for that one. But I mean, as Tarantino got more well known as a writer, director, everybody wanted to be part of his movies. Like, you cannot deny the power of acting in Inglourious Bastards. It just like, the actors just take the stage on there, which is fantastic. And then I'll give one shout out to, has anybody seen the movie 4 Rooms?
Oh yeah. No. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
about that movie.
4 Rooms is basically Tim Roth is a bellboy at a hotel, and he gets called up to deliver room service, bring a bag, whatever it is, to 4 separate rooms of this movie, and each of the 4 rooms is written and directed by a different director, and Tarantino did the 4th room, and like, so they each have their own little short storylines going on. And I don't know, it's out there and it's fun. But Robert Rodriguez did a room, so like with I think Antonio Banderas is in it about the kids that misbehave, and I don't know, it's worth a watch. I'd say if you guys haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun.
I'm going to throw a curveball. My number one is Django.
Nice.
I'd say Django, then Kill Bill, then Inglourious Bastards. I think that would be my top 3.
If it wasn't for Django, watching that before and then now watching Jackie Brown, when he's commenting on Cherry's partner, of like, yeah, I'm like, I don't think I would understand what that word means until this movie.
Oh, got it. Yep. And for me,
I also didn't know if it was inappropriate to say, so I didn't say it.
I think it is.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm lost.
Man. And then Australian thing ate his baby. Never mind.
Oh, sure.
Thanks, Jamie.
No, I'm with you. I got it. Yeah. So my list, Inglourious Bastards, number 1. I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Pulp Fiction 2, and this one, it might be recency bias. There's a very fluid middle here, but I put Jackie Brown 3. It jumped Reservoir Dogs for me. I liked it that much. So yeah, Bastards, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, and then there's this fluid middle with Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, and Once Upon a Time. I love all those movies, and given the day, I would probably rotate those 3.
So I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but that's rated pretty highly. People seem to like that one, huh?
It's really good. it kind of like Jackie Brown. I was like, I think I like that, but then it was a movie I thought of for like the entire week after I saw it in the theater. So I need
Right.
to watch again. And I haven't
I,
seen Django, which is my disclaimer to my list. I know,
oh.
I know.
Case, I'd say you would enjoy Once Upon a Time because it takes like, supposedly, a time in history that in characters that like, so it could be like based on a true story, but much like Inglourious Bastards, it takes twists and turns that you're like, okay, so this is your universe, not
Right.
our universe. Fun
I
fact about
love that.
Django though.
Oh yeah, fun
Go
fact.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Kate. No, fine. But I was gonna say they're. I don't know if it's gonna be live action or not, but they're gonna make a Django Zorro movie.
Huh?
Like, yeah, like it's supposed to be. So several years after the events of Django Unchained, Django meets Don Diego de la Vega from the famed Zorro and agrees to become his bodyguard on a mission to free the local Aboriginal population from slavery. I'm like, yes, please, be a real
Wow.
movie. Recast Jamie. I don't care. You can bring back Antonio. I'm on board. So,
Isn't
all
Quentin
right.
going to be done after one more? Didn't he say he's going to do
Yeah.
one more and be done?
The
He said that in
Prozac
the last
movie,
one
right?
too.
Oh, did he?
But it's called
No,
like
I thought
Bounty
he said
Law or
two
something.
more after Hateful Eight. So he did the Once Upon a Time. I think he has one more.
He just said one more. I think
Mm.
he's been on a few podcasts lately, and that's
Chad, did you see the Prozac movie, or were you thinking of whatever that Viagra musical was we were kind of talking about?
yeah,
last
that's
time?
what I meant. Viagra, not Prozac.
Chad, before I interrupted, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say that's like you're talking about taking like something that's based on a true story, then taking your own liberties to kind of create your own little world with that. And
Mhm.
I love that stuff because that's kind of like the type of movie that I have a hard time watching is something that's based on like a true story. That's like so for example, like something like Walk the Line, which I have a hard time watching, even though I love Johnny Cash. I grew up listening to Johnny Cash, but I can't watch a film like that that's based on like a true story, or if it's like some kind of like autobiographical, because I know that there's, even though like the events in the movie are like something that happened, I just know in my head, or I just get in my head where I'm just like, I know this isn't what was happening. Like the dialogue is all still created, and there's still stuff that's created for drama, to like create this film. So that's where I love it, like stuff like Inglorious Bastards, or like you're saying with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where they kind of create their own little worlds and stuff like that. I love that shit. Almost like some kind of form of alternate history or something like that. But I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, like in Chad, for what you're saying with that, I don't think you're saying it this way, but is it like for Johnny Cash, like you have this image, this feeling of Cash from listening to him when you're younger in your head, and then watching like a biopic where you're learning maybe some shitty things about him? Or is that like because it takes you out of it, or it's not really about that?
No, part of it, I just know that because anytime I do watch a biopic, the first thing I do is I Google like what events like in this movie like didn't really happen, kind of thing, or like what was real, what was not, and what was made for Hollywood, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
nothing
but I
like
also suppose
nothing. What's that?
I was just gonna say, I also suppose like what worries me sometimes is like I know it didn't say based on a true story, but like I think the Manson family murders is like a little bit more popular. Maybe kids today do know about that, but I just imagine like a 16-year-old kid going to the theater and seeing this and then taking these events for truth and like being like, oh,
Right.
that was weird.
Right.
like trying to research it.
Right.
Be like, no, Sharon Tate died. So
what we're trying to say is PSA, kids, don't believe everything you see.
Yeah, nothing is real and everyone smokes in Hollywood. Let's be honest.
You need multiple sources of truth.
Yeah. And kids, if you're wondering if it is truth or not, be sure to email Movie Time Machine and ask for Casey specifically. He will.
I got you.
He will do the research and find out the answers for you.
Well, we're still waiting for our first email to that we receive, so I can I'll actually go back and watch Happy Gilmore.
Come on, guys and gals.
I don't know. Good choice on the movie this time, guys. I do like when we see movies that we hadn't seen before. It's very rare that we can find that little unicorn. So kudos to Jackie Brown for being that unicorn.
All right, before we go,
Close her
I want
out.
to let you know to check out the Retro Movie Roundtable podcast episode 116, where we cover Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And unfortunately, my audio did not sound great on that, so sorry for that. But check that out. It was a good conversation. They had me on the pod, so as a guest. So go over there, check them out, give them a listen. And before we go, I want to thank you for downloading this episode of Movie Time Machine. And remember, new episodes drop on Fridays. Please send your questions, comments, and feedback to movietimemachinepod at movietimemachinepod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at Movie Machine Pod. Thank you for listening, and catch you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.